Noise Junkies! It's a music podcast, baby! Covering every musical genre. What do we got that the others don't? I'll tell you! We got Mondo Heather's Heather Drain. Noise Junkie! We got Wolf and Raisins HP. Noise Junkie! We got Dark Destinations Father Malone. Noise Junkie! And we got you! We got music and we got you, baby! And you get it at Weird and Way Media. Noise Junkies.
Hello there, I'm Chris Dash.
I'm Mike White.
And this is Father Malone.
And we are the hosts of Dreams for Sale, a once-a-month look at our favorite iteration of The Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone 1985. If you could see my co-hosts, they're smiling right now because that is bold-faced lie.
Now, you know what? This actually still remains my favorite iteration of The Twilight Zone. It's just that I can't handle the back end.
Wait, even more so than the original.
No, not the original.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you were to say, yeah, the thing is, the first iteration of the show, it ran so long and it had so many episodes that they were bound to have better ones than we had here. And they had Rod Serling running the fucking thing and that stable of writers.
The first show, I think, is empirically a better show, but you could make a case for the first season of this show being really, as good.
Yeah.
I mean, empirically, the first show has to be the best one for a lot of reasons. It's the original. It sets the tone. It makes these other shows what they are. But, I could see why you would say this would be your favorite iteration of the show because it's still pretty good. At least the first season is.
Right. The first season. And, it's more personal to me. I didn't grow up in the late 50s, early 60s watching it because it would have, I'm sure I'd be like, nothing is better than this if I had, if I had. But, it certainly hit me where it was hitting the viewers then with that first season with stories that were completely relatable and utterly terrifying in some cases.
What about you, Mike? Is this your favorite iteration of the show or is it the original?
I think if I were just to go by the numbers, I can probably think of more favorite episodes from the first iteration than even the second iteration. I mean, there were some really good segments of this. It feels like we're wrapping up the entire podcast, but
no. I mean, it's just we've gotten to the point now where we have no love for this show. So I'm curious, where is this show gonna rank? Because I think even Father Malone's kind of said it, he couldn't have anticipated this where we are now.
Yeah, and I think Father Malone, you and I are just about the same age. So yeah, I was right there with you on whatever Friday night or whenever they would play this, and it's just wow, some of them just blew your mind. I mean, the Shadow Man and to see the Blind Man or whatever that episode was, there were some really good ones and it really got you. But then even going back and seeing some of the originals like To Serve Man, it's okay, I think I'm still all about the original incarnation.
Yeah, I will concede that The Howling Man by Chuck Beaumont in the original run of the show is one of the best pieces of television ever committed to film. So that alone is probably better than everything in the first season of this show. But yeah. I mean, I can appreciate that is a better version of the show, but this is my favorite version of the show. Let me put it that way.
Now, how about you, Chris? You've seen actually 4 different incarnations because I think you've watched more of the 2002 show than either Father Malone or I combined.
That would actually have to be my answer as kind of like you said, Father Malone. The one that I saw the most of growing up was the UPN Forrest Whitaker. I remember seeing that show, the episode where they're it's The Sims. I remember that episode vividly. The racism episode, which I still think is actually a pretty good episode. all things considered. I mean, we haven't really had a racism episode in this show, because I don't know how well it... I mean, I guess we kind of have, but The one with the guy,
hither and yon, not so
the
bold
guy
faced.
that they couldn't like look at him, right, or whatever.
Right. Well, and then the Chinese guy who is super angry about how he's been treated unfairly, which I understand.
But like the 2002 show's racism episode, I think still works, and like it's heavy-handed, but like it's. Let me put it this way: it's less heavy-handed than any of the Jordan Peele stuff is, and I think.
Is it John Travolta suddenly awake in a world where whites are the minority?
No, it's not that movie that I just recently found out was a real thing.
White Man's Burden? Oh yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like charmer of a film. Crowd
makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah, right. What if? Oh God. So speaking of thinking, let's put our thinking caps on and talk about the 49th and 50th episode. It is the 50th episode of the third season of The Twilight Zone. Those episodes were The Trunk and Appointment on Route 17.
It's been said that all good things come to those who wait. This is Willie Gardner, a man whose lifetime of waiting is about to end.
So The Trunk aired December 24th, 1988. It is directed by Steve DeMarco, written by Paul Chitlick and Jeremy Bertrand Finch. And who does it star? Well, it stars Father Malone's favorite, everybody's favorite, Mr. Bud Cort.
Can't go wrong with Bud Cort.
Strange little man. Bud
Unless
Cort.
You're watching this episode.
Whoa, boy. Yeah, so he plays like a nebbish man who works at the hotel. And he finds a trunk that gives him everything that he wants. And he finds out that be careful what you wish for, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe.
Like, he doesn't die in the end. Like, I don't know if I'd want to go into the magical trunk and then come out of the magical trunk, but
probably not.
Be careful what you wish for, but I guess not, because this has a positive ending. So
let me just let me tilt back here so you can see the poster behind me.
Yeah, the Harold and Maude poster.
Harold and Maude, because that movie is one of, if not my all-time favorite, and Bud Cort can do no wrong in my eyes. And he acquits himself here, as most of the guest stars who end up in shitty episodes tend to do. Like, they don't stop being good performers. But this episode was just like, if any of us were given anything for a wish, would the first thing you do be throw a party for all the drunken reprobates and bullies you've had to deal with your entire existence? It's like he finally gets an opportunity. I mean, should we not like this character? Is that what they're trying to say? Because
I thought it would be like, give me a way to kill these people so I can get away from them.
Exactly.
Like, I want a deed to a house very far from here where I never have to work again or deal with drunks and bullies. Like, what?
This is the logic that you're using that I don't.
Right.
Logic doesn't work in this show anymore. It makes no sense. This episode actually makes zero fucking sense.
My question. Okay, so he says, like, if I had a nickel for every time, and then suddenly it's filled with nickels. These are the nickels that you would have gotten if that wish had ever come true. And then he just keeps taking stuff out of it. Now, does he at some point just pull out a big wad of cash and then go buy those furniture items? Or are we supposed to believe that the furniture items came out of the trunk? Am I overthinking the episode? Yes.
Oh, well, you're definitely giving this a lot more thought than the writers did, because it doesn't work. I mean, the whole twist, quote unquote, at the end is just ridiculous. I don't get it. And I don't get how the lady gets the trunk at the end. It's like, where did this come from? How did this get here?
There's a pervert in my house. He's coming out of this fucking trunk. Somebody get him. Like, nobody's just like, oh, this is some sexy man coming out of this fucking trunk. Like,
I wish I had a man to marry. Yeah. And here's Bud Cort with the eyeliner, that horrible hairdo that he has. Thank God it's slicked back at that point.
Yes, then he's a god then.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I expect him to draw a knife from out behind his back. He looks like a creep.
That would have been good.
All 5'2" of them. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The I was in the trunk, but they don't.
I was screaming at the television. Just the people, the gang of youths, quote unquote, that are
youths,
35-year-old youths that are hanging out at this derelict hotel and just picking on this guy completely, and yet he just falls for their tricks again and again and again. I'm like,
what was this like mid 80s trope? It popped up a lot where they would have like a group of bullies send a girl over to entice the guy, and then ha ha ha, it's all a joke, you
and they
loser.
Can see them laughing in the background. The character can. Like, you can see the bullies laughing. And it's like, they're making fun of you, and you're like, you think the girl's serious? Like, this doesn't really convey confidence that the main character's not a complete fucking moron.
Yeah.
Which is, what Willie Gardner, the asshole that Bud Cort plays, is a complete fucking moron.
Yeah,
so,
he is. Yeah.
I say this with absolute certainty, he is one of the stupidest characters I've ever seen in this show. What he does is invite people that he knows are known assholes to his house, effectively, and then they try to kill him because they're known assholes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he makes out in the end.
What is the lesson here?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be like that story from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, where it's like the woman on her wedding day who is playing hide and seek. Have you guys ever heard this urban legend?
No.
It's like a woman on her wedding day, and one of the things that they do after they get married is they play hide and seek, and the woman goes into the attic, and she gets in a trunk, and the trunk slams on her head, knocks her out, trunk locks, whatever. She fucking dies in the trunk in the attic of the house. 20, 30 years later, people are looking for stuff in the attic, find the trunk, open it, and there's fucking the woman dead as the day she was born. I thought that's where they were going with this, and it's some stupid shit instead. It's really stupid.
That reminds me of when my dad used to dress up as Santa Claus, and one year he didn't come home for Christmas. Which I laughed uproariously about when I was watching Gremlins in the theater, and I had people shushing me, and one woman saying that I was sick for laughing at that. So when they did the whole Lincoln's birthday thing in the sequel, I felt very vindicated.
What is in the first one? It's the Santa got stuck in the chimney thing, right?
Right.
What's the Lincoln's birthday thing?
In the
she starts to tell. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Father Malone.
Oh yeah, in the second one, at like a certain point where things are going crazy around them, Phoebe Cates starts to say, "Oh, this reminds me of a time on Lincoln's birthday," which is just a callback to the Santa thing. And then they're like, "We don't have time for this."
Right. Oh. And there was a man with a beard and a stovetop hat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I thought they were going with this, because I was like, "Oh, he's gonna get locked in the crate, and that's it. Like, he's dead now." But nope. Cut to the stupidest ending in this history of this show. At least coda to that so far.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of another Wish episode that we watched, I think last season, where it was the woman that we keep seeing showing up in Barney Miller, where she can wish things, but then it has all the consequences of the wish. Like I remember it was like, I wish that my neighbor could find love or something, but then that affect. You remember?
Oh, right.
Yeah. So there's like all of the consequences that happen, and there's no consequences to Willie's wishes. So I'm like, okay, well, that's always, I'm waiting for the monkey's paw kind of thing, or the genie who is going to fuck him over. Like, if I had a nickel for every single time, and then, I don't know, the nickels are counterfeit and he gets arrested or something, or whatever comes out of this. But there's no consequence, and it's just the limits of his dumbass imagination for the stuff that can come out of the trunk. And then, I don't know why you hide in the trunk. It's just like, this is a magic thing. Leave it alone.
He didn't wish for a new security system for his building.
Yeah.
Or a gun or anything.
Hey, Mike, do you want to guess when that episode that you're talking about was?
First season?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that was a while ago.
Yeah. And the woman, are you talking about Uta Hagen?
No.
Was she on Barney?
Wasn't that...
She might have been, but I think this was Candy Azara. Okay.
Yeah, that was the first season. That's how long ago that was.
Jeez.
We've forgotten since then.
Remember how good the first season was?
Yeah.
So good. That's what the rest of these episodes should be. We'll just talk about our favorite episodes.
Episode is still kind of okay.
Yeah. It's a lot better than this one.
Good Lord.
I don't know what this episode was going for, but for once, instead of just being kind of okay and inoffensive, it is so stupid it becomes offensive. It's offensively dumb in the way that it's written, because it is written without internal logic. And by without internal logic, I mean the characters do things that literally no sense.
Once again, I do this every show when they start to fail. I have to wonder who was steering the ship at this point. Like, was there no process? It was just like, here, go write this, and then they show up and go, okay, now we're just going to film it. Like the very simplest, like, what are you trying to say here? Would solve so many problems with this season. Just what is your point with this?
I wonder if people by the end of this show were just like, I'm just glad to be working.
Yeah.
It's got to be it, because that's the only explanation behind this show being this dumb at this point. Like having...
Yeah, I theorized on another episode that it was probably just like, these are like the reject pile.
Right.
Like, you know, they were like, this isn't even worth rewriting. Just leave it in that trunk.
Yeah, people will just eat that shit up.
And now they're like, oh, okay, we'll just take this. This is done.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels very much just like satisfying contractual obligations to get a third season of this show out. Like, okay, whatever kind of just nonsense can dribble out of J. Michael Straczynski and everybody else's pens. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels, like you said, Father Malone, just rejects.
Yeah.
And what's a shame is, like, I don't remember when Twilight Zone magazine was out, but there are still stories from Twilight Zone magazine that I can remember to this day. It feels like they should have at least used that as like a seedbed for stories and been like, yeah, great. You know, let's do this thing. It just feels like, yeah, where are these stories coming from? How is this approval process happening? Because
I agree with you. There were a lot of really good stories in Twilight Zone magazine. I think at this point they were just like, what is the cheapest way to fulfill our obligation to get this thing syndicated? Like, we're not going to pay out to an author from Twilight Zone magazine to get it to adapt it at this point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the other thing is, when you look at these episodes, they're all, at least these four, for the most part, also look pretty cheap. So,
oh my God, yes.
It feels like on top of everything else, they're like, the scripts are just kind of and then, they look like they're all shot on a set. Like,
it doesn't even look like film sometimes. There are times where this looks so cheap. I'm like, is this 3/4-inch video that you're shooting on here?
Soap opera. Yeah. I mean, even, you know, they did that on the original run of the Twilight Zone there for like a season, like where they were saving money that way. But man, the episodes still continue to be quality.
Yeah. Yeah, once they got to those hour-long episodes, I remember those being kind of weak. And that was always my problem with, and I'm sorry I'm going off on a tangent, but that was always my problem with The Outer Limits. I was like, these stories would be a lot better if they were about half as long. You know, you've got a half an hour worth of story. You don't have an hour worth of a story. And with these things that we're watching here, 22 minutes sometimes feels like way too much. I'm like, you guys have 8 minutes worth of a story here. Get to it.
I was about to say,
yeah.
Could they realistically pad this story out to an hour? Like,
oh my God, can you imagine?
Fucking watch that nightmare.
Ooh,
that god awful fucking horrifying idea. Like, who in the hell would? Someone would watch it.
Yeah,
there were some episodes season 1. And season 2 where I thought like the 22 minutes was a hindrance. Like they should have given this one the full hour. That is not the case with any season 3 episode.
No.
Way too long. Most of these stories wouldn't even be acceptable as like the little interstitial stories in between the other seasons.
Right. I mean, if you boil this one down, it's, you know, guy finds a trunk that grants him wishes, ... gets picked on at a party, hides in the trunk, gets wished into re-existence by a lovelorn woman. Okay, the whole story, I mean, I said 8 minutes before. I think that even might be stretching it.
Yeah.
I genuinely cannot believe that this is a 22-minute episode, because nothing happens.
I'm just pleased I don't ever have to watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to look at positives here.
Yeah, massive positives here. Massive positives are we don't have to watch this. But on that note, let's talk about the 50th episode of the show and the 15th episode of the 3rd season, Appointment on Route 17.
One man, one heart. An obsolete fact of life. Witness Tom Bennett, a man who accepts his new organ as just one more item that money can buy.
So this episode is directed by Renee Bonnier. It is written by Haskell Barkin, and it stars Paul LeMat as a man who gets a heart transplant. A heart transplant in the Twilight Zone. That's how you write a fucking intro for this stupid-ass episode, guys. Not one man, one heart, one solution. Like, no.
This season...
This is so...
This season is not only like the gentle season where we're no longer interested in any rough edges on their fantastical musings, but it also seems to be the season where a bunch of baby boomer, bottom tier screenwriters / television writers got to vent about how they're like lost idealism. This felt a lot like that with Paul LeMat's character,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, remember when we were young and cool? We can do that again. I just need someone's heart to do it.
What was the name of that episode?
The one with
that episode that you're talking about.
The one with
the girl I married.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the one where they're fucking each other as younger versions of themselves.
Dennis DeYoung.
Yeah. Dennis or Cliff?
Cliff DeYoung. Dennis DeYoung is the singer. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, no, Cliff. Yeah. No. The
Cliff DeYoung was the vet.
Vietnam one.
Yeah, that's right. I can't remember who it was. That was
James Whitmore Jr.
Okay. No one.
They all blend together in their mediocrity.
They do. Oh man. I mean, I've seen this story done so many times better. I mean, why isn't it he got the eyes of a serial killer or something? Why isn't it, the John Mulaney joke about the eyes of Jerry Orbach? That's a better plot than what we're watching here.
I mean,
I feel
don't know about
strongly drawn to this diner.
Yeah.
And this girl.
She's making me erect.
Why could this be? And he is such a creep.
The guy's heart would be pumping straight to his dick. I just want to point this out. Like, oh my God, I just ravage you.
That was the other 80s thing, that sort of that mane of hair look for successful yuppies. Like,
Paul,
Jesus,
you look terrible.
That's what I'm going
for.
The
worst I've ever seen.
Wind blown back hair. Like,
I'm a lion, damn it.
You know what? I can rock a suit, but I can also rock an open denim shirt.
Yeah.
That's what that says.
Greed
I'm
for
fun on the weekends, but work on the weekdays.
Yeah. It's very much the Gordon Gecko. Like, you can wear it plastered down with gel, or mousse, I should say, and it'll be fine for work, but then you can just let it fly free in your convertible on the weekend and be the hipster guy.
Look what I mean. Again, you're seeing it. I'm going for it, man. You got it.
The 80s were terrible.
For the 21st century, Gordon Gecko would be a man with blonde hair that's dyed blonde.
Oh, yeah.
But I also am not a sociopath like Gordon Gecko or Paul LeMat's character. I guess he was an asshole at one point.
Oh, he definitely is at the start of this episode.
So I guess it takes a while for the heart to change you.
I guess.
Sure.
What the fuck? I mean, why wasn't it immediate? Like, using the logic of this episode, the moment it's put into his body, he should start feeling things for this woman. Also, I would like to point out, it is a creepy episode. Like, just
very creepy.
It is.
He is a total creep.
I have your.
Oh.
And now I think we should start seeing each other. What do you think?
Oh God.
What a perverse. No one would write that story in 2021. Like, nobody.
You know what? You could, if you were to focus on that and try and deal with the levels of creepiness. But this thinks it's being sweet.
I mean, what was that movie? Was it Heart Condition with Denzel and Bob Hoskins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The movie that totally doesn't feel like it should exist, but yet somehow does.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like that movie better than this episode.
Someone threw a bunch of names into a bag and just started pulling them out with ideas. Bob Hoskins, Denzel Washington, guy who gets a black man's heart.
Mm-hmm.
A racist cop.
Racist cop, yeah.
Racist cop. Yep.
Of course. And he learns a lesson.
Yep. There was a great movie called Change of Mind where it was Raymond St. Jacques who he gets the mind of a white guy put into him. And this was early 70s or late 60s. And that dealt with race really well because it was an actual brain transplant into a black guy. And then like, okay, here's how this white guy's experiencing this black guy's life. Really good. Much better than this.
Ripped off Get Out. There we are.
The amazing two-headed transplant is better.
Oh, God.
It's like,
yes. Yeah.
Ray Milland and Rosie Greer.
Rosie Greer,
I mean,
yeah.
The Simpsons episode.
Do you have two of everything?
The Simpsons episode is better than this.
Yeah.
Where Homer gets, Snake's hair.
Oh, God.
And he becomes, he wants to kill Bart because I think Bart is the one who turned him in.
Right.
And so it's like Sideshow Bob-ish. Like it's essentially the same idea. Like, this is such an unnovel concept.
It's like Hell to Pay, the Amazing Stories episode.
Yeah.
It's the hair from the person that died from the French Revolution, maybe? And
I think that was it.
So that's where The Simpsons ripped it.
Yeah. Okay. It's a great episode.
It's so, like you said, Father Malone, it's so just kind of just not
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
it has nothing.
We're going to tell this sweet romance, and the only way, but it's the Twilight Zone, so we're going to put this twist on it. And by the way, there are actual stories of people who went through something like this, where like somebody, had a transplant and then like finds themselves attracted to that person, or like they find each other, or like, it's all sort of happenstance. So like even those stories are more interesting than this because there's really no supernatural thing going on here at all. Like.
No.
Shouldn't this be for the 21st
I'm so tired of the yuppies.
Well, yeah.
On this show, like, I don't feel anything for them, and I don't want to understand them. They're fucking dickheads.
Is 88, 89 like peak dickhead yuppie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bright lights, big city, baby. Less than zero.
You know what? Yeah. You know what they should do when they reboot the Twilight Zone inevitably the next time? They should do this, but it's a man's face. It's a face transplant.
Oh, a face transplant.
Oh, like taking his face off?
Yeah, I'm putting it a Castor Troy style.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's like I was like I can't even look at you. But I'm in love with you. I have your ex-husband's face. I literally can't look at you right now. This is creeping me out. Like,
yeah.
This is just such a fucking weird premise that doesn't make sense and doesn't really. But it feels quaint, doesn't it? It's nice and quaint.
Remember Body Parts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Horror movie.
Yeah.
Eric Red.
I was going to say, I couldn't remember who was involved in that one. Yeah.
I think it was Michael Pare, too. That solid chunk of wood, Michael Pare.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're talking about his very solid acting style.
Yes, he's good.
Yes.
He's good. You prop him up and let him go.
That's why he's still in everything today.
That's right. Wow. Look at the tangents we're more interested in than talking about this episode.
Yeah.
Have I said skip to any of these? Do I need to?
Yeah. No, I thought people were in on it when, oh my God, her boyfriend, his heart is now in another man. An older, creepy fucking.
Paul LeMat deserved better. I don't know. I don't know why he didn't become a bigger thing. I mean, was it just bad roles? Was he an asshole or is an asshole in real life? I mean,
we'll never know.
On Facebook, I follow him on Facebook. He seems nice there.
Remember when there was an age when we didn't know all the minutia of everyone's lives? And
oh God, yeah.
You just had to kind of speculate, like, why wasn't Paul LeMat a bigger star? He should have been. We like him.
Exactly.
Why didn't Rose McGowan get all these roles for?
Yeah.
In the late 90s. Why was that?
Seems kind of strange.
It's weird.
Whatever happened to Annabella Sciorra?
Yeah, why is Mira Sorvino not really working anymore?
Yeah, she won an Oscar.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
Yeah, boy. To your point though, Father Malone, you're right. The internet is, for as good as it is also just as bad.
Yeah.
Which allows us to be smug, pretentious, and miserable talking about Twilight Zone and convincing people that we hate this show. And that's the saddest part about this. Like, I know that we have people that listen to this show, and we have people that have written reviews about this show that go like, you guys don't fucking like this show. Why are you talking about it? And that's not fair, because the fact that whether we like it or not is unimportant. It's that we're able to be critical regardless of those facts.
Right.
I mean, Father Malone loves this show, at least the first season.
I do.
We loved the we love Tales from the Crypt, and we were able to be fucking objective about that show as well. Objectivity needs to be removed from our opinions, and it's unfortunate that these episodes suck, but what are we supposed to do? Say how good they are, and then people go watch them and feel like they wasted their time? That's not fair either.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't wish these on anyone. Out of a trunk.
We didn't start this show because we hate it. We started it because we liked it so much. Remember how good that show was? Yeah, great. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. We were talking before the show. I had mentioned the other show that I had pitched for the three of us to do, and that got shot down because the perception was it was not a good show. Using that logic, we should not have talked about this show if we had known it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate because you would have hoped that this show wouldn't really fall apart this fast.
I would propose another podcast, a companion piece, if you will, to the one season show where we just talk about the one season of a show that was good.
Right. Before it jumped off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I love when someone tells me to watch a show, but just watch past the first season. It gets better then.
Right.
I had a friend tell me, you should be watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I said, I tried, and it's just not for me. And he was like, but the beginning of the third season, once you get there, and I'm like, you want me to watch 2 full seasons of a garbage thing?
No.
So it can potentially get better at some point? No.
I think I'm up to season 7 on that thing, and no, it's not good. It's never been good.
I came back for Ghost Rider just because I love Ghost Rider, but then I just watched the episodes that Ghost Rider was in. I fast forwarded until it arrived, and then
Yeah, and those weren't that good either.
No, they were garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I didn't watch Mad Men, because everyone's like, oh, the first 2 seasons aren't very good, but once you get past those, that's like 16 hours of TV, guys.
Right.
Literally have anything.
I love that show. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, but are the first 2 seasons of that show good?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, maybe I'll watch it. But, at this point, there's other things.
I almost prefer the first 2 seasons over the rest of the show.
Well, maybe the people that I was listening to opinions were wrong. That's a possibility.
Yes, they certainly were, at least over here.
But you know whose opinion's not wrong? Ours on this show, because this show is not good anymore.
No.
And with that in mind, on the next episode of this show, we're continuing our trod towards the end of this particular season, Twilight Zone, with the 16th and 17th episodes of the 3rd season, The Cold Equations, and Stranger in Possum Meadows. So cool. So come back for those. Until then, Father Malone, where can people find your smug, pretentious, and miserable opinion?
Yeah, you can always find it at fathermalone.com. Check out links there to my podcast, Dark Destinations, which is a half-hour radio drama that I write and produce, and links to, YouTube and all the podcasts, including the one that Chris and I did about Tales from the Crypt, Chronicles from the Crypt.
What about your OnlyFans?
They took it down.
Oh.
Too sexy.
Too much nudity. Just too much for them to handle. Mike, what about you? Where can people find you on the internet?
You can always find me at the Projection Booth, which is available at projectionboothpodcast.com. And you can also find Chris and I talking about Barney Miller, which so far hasn't fallen off a cliff. And I'm hoping it doesn't, because we've got 5 more seasons to go.
Yeah, 5 more fucking seasons.
But so far, it's fantastic. We just hit a high point talking about the Hash episode, one of the funniest things I've seen. So thank goodness for that. And we also talk about Rankin and Bass over on the Rankin on Bass podcast, which your mileage may vary on that, but at least we have a fun time talking about it. So
you get to hear Mike sing, specifically on the Lord of the Rings episode. If you want to hear it, go listen. Very popular episode just because of the singing. Yeah, it's Mike being able to hit those high notes. I'll tune in. As Glenn Yarborough, eat your heart out. It's actually better. Mike's rendition is closer to what Frodo, I would assume, would want sung about him. So. As for me, you can find me kicking my proverbial can down the road at CSTACHIW.com. That's my name. My last name with the first letter of my first name attached to it. That's where you can go and find all the links to the stuff I work on. My OnlyFans is not on there yet. I had to take it down because they said, like Father Malone, it was just too damn hot out there for us. They reversed the decision. We can do it. We can be back on OnlyFans again, guys. That's right. Sorry. We can't. Yeah.
No, I tried that. They still said too sexy.
Too sexy? Wow.
Sexy. Green-haired men they just do it for people so hard on the internet. It's like redheaded women, green-haired men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
true.
Very Irish.
Me and what's his name? Dean Stockwell, the boy with the green hair.
Go. I thought you were going to go for Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Or Edward Norton. Or Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
What's the other guy?
Or
Eric Bana.
Eric Bana,
yeah. Hashtag Eric Bana is still my Hulk. But seriously, no, there's no OnlyFans, but that's where you can find the stuff that I work on with these guys. As for this show, TwilightZone85.com, Twilight Zone 85 on Twitter as well. And DreamsForSale.com?
Maybe? No, I think it's just TwilightZone85.com.
And TwilightZone85.com. Big thanks as always to Roxy Drive and Neutron Dreams for the music for the show, and we'll catch you on the next episode.